Pine savanna. Within the longleaf pine ecosystem lies a smaller, more unique community, the savanna, a broad plain of herb bog that joins the longleaf pine flatwoods to the swamps. Sometimes this zone is no more than a few yards wide, and sometimes it is acres of soggy and supple prairie. These are called seepage bogs because water inches across them, draining the high ground, filling sloughs and streams and pools downslope. Unlike tree-dominated swamps and forests, savannas are composed of herbaceous vegetation and open to full sunlight. Here and there a lone pine rises, although most savannas are too wet to support many trees, but dry enough for occasional summer fires to pass through. Wiregrass and other unusual grasses join a suite of bog plants, exotic and bizarre in their adaptations to these conditions. These seepage bogs are among the most botanically diverse on the planet. More than 50 species of flora have been counted in 1 square meter of savanna. 3 of the world's most carnivorous plant families exist here: 6 pitcher plants, 12 bladderworts, and 6 butterworts, and 5 sundews. Nowhere else on the continent can this diversity of carnivorous plants be found. Such is the variety and pageantry that these have been called pitcher plant bogs. Thousands of trumpet pitcher plants flood the savannas, their knee-high hollowed leaves covered by overarching hoods. Some like bonnets, some like parasols. The hoods shield the long green tubes of leaves, which, lathered with nectar and fashioned with hairs, lure insects inside with flower-like scents and bright colors. The bottoms of these pitfalls is a simmer of digestive enzymes that distill from the insect carnage minerals the plants cannot obtain from the acidic soil. In April and May, trumpet flowers are delicate yellow hands rising from the wet ground. Almost exclusively, bumblebees pollinate them. Parrot pitcher plants look like the beaks of parrots, reclining toward the ground. Their flowers are dwarfish, garnet, and of all the pitcher plants, they love the wettest ground. Frill-edged and white-top pitcher plants, which, when first discovered, were misidentified as the cousin of Jack in the Pulpit, stand alongside their 2-inch burgundy flowers. Hooded pitcher plants are probably most common. The interior of pitcher plants is a unique microenvironment, a rudimentary living cave supplied with trapped prey. A number of species have evolved to inhabit pitcher plants without being eaten themselves. The immature stages of one mosquito occur in water caught on purple pitcher plant leaves. The larvae of certain flies inhabit the Sarracenia leaves, where they feed on insect bodies. A moth of the genus Ixera spends its larval stage inside pitcher plant tubes, feeding on leaf tissues. Deep in the grassy vegetation, the butterworts bloom near the ground. They are carnivorous plants with a rosette of seductive basal leaves that are buttery, sticky slopes unwary insects plunge down. They bloom blue, soft yellow, rose, and white. One of them is red-leaved. Next to the earth, red-bristled sundews, tiny but deadly, offer up their tempting honey. They look like bouquets of tiny, exquisitely bristled fly swatters. The entire plant, 20 or so of these fly swatter leaves linked basally, is often no bigger than a cat's ear and just as soft. When they detect motion, the minuscule and glistening palms of sundews slowly close around struggling prey. Bladderworts grow in water, smothering shallow ponds and ditches with lavender or gold blooms. They trap aquatic microorganisms and minute insects in translucent pinhead-sized bladders, really modified leaves, underwater. Savannas are magnificent wildflower gardens. Something is always blooming: grass pink orchids, rose begonia, rosebud orchids, ladies' tresses. In the heat of summer, the fringed orchids are torches through the meadows. Blue-eyed and yellow-eyed grass, white-eyed sage, meadow beauties. Fall brings on the composites purple spires of liatris, also called blazing star, brown rayless sunflowers, goldenrod, bigeloia, and coreopsis. The aster baulodia pools like orange juice in the wettest places. and clumps of pearl-tipped hatpins stick the carpet of forbs to the flat earth. White violets hover low. These grasses, Aristida, wiregrass, toothache grass, andropogon, dove grass. Longleaf pines are important to neighboring savannas, mostly because of fire, which historically crept out of the burning flatwoods and moved through the pine savannas all the way to the swamp. Fire represented the advance of woody shrubs. Fire repressed the advance of woody shrubs, which are wont to move out of the swamps and colonize savannas, and created a blank slate upon which the plants flourished anew. Like longleaf forests, pine savannas became fire dependent. The absence of fire results in the elimination of bog species. I've been to savannas many times and have even slept in them. At evening in a southern coastal plain savanna, Chuck Will's widows call from the piney flatwoods a quarter-mile upland. Not a rustle or hoof fall punctures the peace, except one moaning howl a mile away that might be a coyote or wildcat. Half the moon, like a broken dinner plate, poises directly overhead, and the stars begin to appear, first on the nimbus of moon, then one by one across the lit sky. Soon a canopy of purple velvet is sown with diamond flecks above the thick and hillocked grasses. The dreaming is deep. In the morning, a strip of pink pulls through the slash pines in the lowland east. The fog is a garden wall made both of stone and imagination. In the garden, a million spiderwebs are spun of strands of dew, dream catchers, wind nets, hammocks of dawn. There are thousands of them, a revolution of spiderwebs in an anarchy of fog. It is like an ocean of webs, every tussock slung with a diaphanous nightcap. They melt into the rising sun at the rate of the stars formed. So little of nature happens in revelation, but rather in mad warps of time. A pygmy rattler curls on a warming pad of grass high off the ground, soaking in a suffusion of heat. In the crayfish burrows, two-toed Aphiomas and mud salamanders lived their silent lives. A pair of bluebirds, awesomely blue, dawdle in a gnarled pine. Across the wide savanna, 50 to 100 tree swallows dip and bank, snapping up insects only they can see. Meadowlarks and red-winged blackbirds sing to the bird's foot violets and to the odd flightless grasshoppers and spittlebugs who can live no other place. In the bog pools, the flailing larvae of endangered pine barren tree frogs stir microscopic clouds of mud.